Hello students, today in today's video we are going to see the second application of Biot-Savart law. In the previous video we have seen the application of Biot-Savart law for a circular ring and at the center, that is the field due to a circular ring, the magnetic field due to a circular ring carrying a current at the center. Now we are going to see the same circular ring, but we are not going to find the field at the center, but rather we are going to find the field at some axial line. So I have arranged this one for you. So this is my circular ring over here, and I hope it's visible to you. So from the center, that means somewhere here, this is the center of the circular ring. Somewhere here I want to find the field, and this line is called the axial line, which is a line which comes from the center of the circle, okay, which runs through the center of the circle. So let's see here how does the diagram looks like. So magnetic field along axial line due to circular coil carrying current. Okay, it's a big heading. Okay. So let us say that this is my circular ring over here. Okay. This is my circular ring which I have placed it like this. This is how I have placed it, the circular ring over here. And let us say that it has a current which is flowing like this. And this is the distance x. We always take this distance as x. The distance at which I want to find the value of field. And say that the radius of the circular wire, the circular coil is r. So r is the radius of the circular coil. So this is r. That means this circular coil has a radius of r. And let us say that, remember the Biot-Savart law? The Biot-Savart law says that for a small field dB, the formula is mu naught by 4 pi I dl cross r divided by r cube in vector form. Okay, so we are going to use that one over here. So if I consider this to be a small element over here as IDL, so this is my small element as IDL, then from here I will draw a line till this, and this is your distance R. Now here you will be surprised to know that this angle is 90 degree. This angle over here is 90 degree, this one. See what I mean to say here is this. This is visible to you. Now just imagine this green part. This green part is a small line current carrying element which is carrying a current in this direction as per the diagram. So it goes in this direction. And this is where I want to find a distance r. Okay, this is how I'm going to measure r from here till here. Now remember, if this is my IDL over here, the green part, and if this pen is the r vector which is pointing in this direction over here, then this is the angle which I am calling here as this is the angle between the green part, the line carrying element, and this pen, this one. Now remember, any line, even this is also 90. Sorry, even this is also 90. The green and the marker makes an angle of 90. It is still making an angle of 90. This is still making an angle of 90. This is still making an angle of 90. Any line if I draw, all this line anywhere will always makes an angle of 90 with the green colored element, with the green color line element. Okay, this is 90. This is 90. This is 90. You may say that if I am rotating, why the angle is not changing? Angle is changing. I am not saying angle is not changing. Angle is changing, but it is changing with respect to the vertical. With respect to vertical, this is 0 degree, then theta, some theta, then 90, okay, and then 270, and then it becomes 360. But I am not supposed to find the angle with respect to the vertical. I am supposed to find the angle with respect to the green color part. So with the green color part, this angle will be always 90. See, this is the always 90. Whether I rotate it here, this angle is always 90. See, it's always 90. It's always 90. Okay, so with this green color part, the angle is always 90. Okay, I hope that makes it clear to you. Okay, so fine. Now let us say that r vector which has reached to point x, let us say that this makes an angle of theta. Now the question is, in which direction this element will create a field over here. Now that is again very interesting part over here. Now this is my ideal again. Okay, this is my ideal. So if I have to find the value of ideal cross r, remember there is a vector here, it is called ideal cross r, to get the value of direction. Now just imagine if my r would have been like this. Okay, if my r would have been like this is my ideal. Stretch your finger towards your ideal and then cross r. Okay, ideal cross r. Getting the point? So where it is pointing? It is pointing upward. Fine. Okay. Just imagine if the r would have been like this, then I will do it like this, ideal cross r. Okay, like this. Now if it is like this, it's upward, and if it is like this, it's like this. Look at here. Correct? Ideal cross r. Ideal cross r. That means, look at my thumb. Thumb is the direction. This is ideal and this is my r. Now if I ideal cross r, if I change my r, my thumb should also change its direction. Correct? Sorry. Okay. Okay. So would have been the r like this, the direction of field would have been like this. But since the r is at some angle, can you see this? This is how the r goes. So it will be like this. Okay, at this point the field will be along this direction. So at this point field will be along this direction. This will be my small field. The symmetry says that if I take a same element below, if I take one over here and one over here, then the symmetry says that if this creates a field over here in this direction, then this will create a field here in this direction. Okay, so this would have created a field along this direction, where this is still equals to your r, and let us say it makes an angle of theta. Okay, since the explanation is done, now derivation is not so big. If this angle is theta, then this angle will be also theta, because this is 90 minus theta, so this will be theta. This is your dB, this is also your dB. If this angle is theta, this angle will be theta. Symmetry says that this component, that is your dB cos theta, will get cancelled out. dB cos theta will get cancelled out, and this component will become dB sin theta. So I will write over here this formula first. So you have to start like this from Biot-Savart law. You have to make a note of this derivation. So you can write here from Biot-Savart law. We know that dB equal to mu naught 4 pi ideal cross r vector divided by r cube. Okay, and then you will write mu naught by 4 pi ideal r sine of 90 degree divided by r cube. Okay, and we keep this over here. Remember, this sine 90 is coming from the angle between ideal and r, which I told you in the very beginning, correct? This is your ideal and r, which makes an angle of 90 degree. Okay, that was 90 degree. The angle between ideal r and sine 90 degree. So one of the r will get cancelled out. So you are left with mu naught by 4 pi ideal sine 90 is 1 divided by r square. This is your dB vector. Okay, and then you will write the direction as per shown in the diagram. Direction as shown in diagram. Okay, now due to symmetry, due to symmetry, field along y-axis will get cancelled out, and only along x direction it exists. Okay, so this much you have to write, and now you write like this. Therefore, field along y direction will give you 0, and field along x direction will be equal to dB sin theta, because this component here will be dB sin theta. Okay, now here there is a question here, that why sir is writing, or why I am writing dB sin theta, whereas this dB sin theta will come from this side, this dB sin theta will come from this side. So there will be 2 dB sin theta, because 1 dB sin theta coming from this side, 1 dB sin theta coming from this side. So there has to be 2 dB sin theta. Okay, now keep this doubt in your mind, it will be getting clear very soon. I am writing, allow me to write just dB sin theta. Okay, then I have to write somewhere, so please pause the video and make a note of these things. I'll grab it from here. So your dBx is equal to dB sin theta, and dB sin theta was, and now remember this theta is because of the component of the field which I am taking along x and y. So dBx will be equal to dB was mu naught by 4 pi I dl divided by r square. This was your dB if you check, and then you have sin theta, and this is your sin theta. What is sin theta in the diagram? The sin theta value in the diagram over here is perpendicular by hypotenuse. Now what is a perpendicular? In this diagram of sin theta, this is my perpendicular and this is my hypotenuse. So I am going to use that over here. Mu naught divided by 4 pi I dl by r square sin theta sin theta is equal to perpendicular by hypotenuse. So perpendicular by hypotenuse, hypotenuse is r over here, and this I can now further write as mu naught by 4 pi into I divided by r cube into r multiplied by dl. This is your dBx. And now if you can see here, the only variable is my dl, because your r is constant, I is constant, r capital R is also constant. So in order to get the total field along x direction, Vx, that will be equal to mu naught by 4 pi this I. So here I have to show the value of I have to show the direction of the symbol of integration, and this will be your I r cube, and then this will be your integral of dl. And now I have to integrate from 0 to 2 pi r. This is where the thing is. I told you that allow me to take only dB sin theta. If you allow me to take dB sin theta, I will integrate from 0 to the 2 pi r. What is 2 pi r? The complete circumference. Now, it's not wrong if you use here 2 dB sin theta. If you use 2 dB sin theta, then a 2 will come over here. Now why you are getting 2 dB sin theta? Because you have taken the symmetry, upper part and lower part. That is the reason why you are getting 2 dB sin theta. Am I right? So if you use 2 dB sin theta, then you are not supposed to integrate from 0 to 2 pi r. In that case, you have to integrate only from 0 to pi r. That is half the circumference. Why half the circumference? Because you have already considered the symmetrical part. When you added 2 to it, you have already considered the lower part. So only integrate the upper part, 0 to pi r. Okay? Or if you don't want to take 2 here, if you want to take dB sin theta, then you integrate from 0 to 2 pi r. So if you use before 2, then integrate half the perimeter, and if you don't use 2 in the before equation, then you completely integrate over full circumference. and this will give you the value of mu naught by 4 pi I times of r cube dl after integration is 2 pi r, and then this becomes equals to dx. And for this one you can write a direction. If your current is going like this, then the field will be along this direction. So here you can write the value as I cap. And then you can write this is the field along the axial line. This is very important to write. No, not now. Wait. What is R? Capital R and X. How can I write this small r? Can I write small r as R square plus X square 3 by 2? Can I write like this? No, not 3 by 2, half. Using the Pythagoras theorem, can I write R as root over of R square plus X square? Yes, I can write that. So the value of dx will be equal to mu naught divided by 4 pi I times of 2 pi r square divided by r cube. And what is r? R is r square plus x square half. Half is there and there is a cube there. So half, and then I have cube because there is a cube in the formula over here. And this will be equal to mu naught by 4 pi I into 2 pi r square divided by r square plus x square 3 by 2. And now you are supposed to write that this is the field expression along the axial line, and hence you can write this is the expression of magnetic field along the axial line. Okay, if you wish to keep the direction as per this diagram, remember in this diagram the current was going like this. Okay, so at the top it's coming in this direction. I will put the grid here. So it's coming like this and then going in over here. Okay, so as per this, if I use this question, if I use this direction of current, then the field will be along this direction, that is plus I cap. If you use this concept, then the field will be along this direction, that's minus I cap. Okay. From here we have two cases which we need to know, and we need to know very properly. First, if there are n number of turns, if there are n number of turns, or other English is for n number of turns. Now if you have one circular coil, then it has a current of I. If you have 2 rounds, that means the strength becomes double. If you have 3 rounds, the strength becomes triple. So I can write that in that case, the field along the axial line, I just write here as axial law instead of x. This is your bx. So right now I am writing bx as b axial line as equal to mu naught divided by 4 pi n I. So wherever there is a I, you have to just multiply with n over there. N I 2 pi r square divided by r square plus x square 3 by 2. Okay. Now, case 1. If your x is equal to 0, if your x is equal to 0, that means where you are exactly at the center of the coil. That means you start decreasing the value of x and you make it 0. So where you are exactly at the center of the coil. In that case, B axial line or B at the center, that will be now B at center. So the field value will be equal to, at the center, will be equal to mu naught by 4 pi Ni 2 pi r square divided by, put x equals to 0. So here will become, this will become 3. And because x becomes 0, so r square into 3 by 2, 2 gets cancelled out, remaining is 3. And then you get cancelled out with this, 1 r will remain. And this is 2 pi and this 4 pi will get cancelled out, it becomes 2 over here. And this is mu naught Ni by 2r. And if you do remember, this is nothing but the same formula which we got in the last class. Only difference is the n was not there because I didn't tell you the value of n. So please make a note for that derivation also, that if there are n number of turns, then the field at the center will be n times of single turn. So mu naught, if I just forget this for a moment, then this is exactly what we derived in the last class, field at the center, correct? And if there are n number of turns, use n and done. Okay, so use in the previous derivation also for n number of turns, mu naught Ni by 2r. Okay. Case number 2. Case number 2 is, what if your x is very very large, greater than r? X is very very big than r. Okay. If your x is very very greater than r, then I can write the value of r square plus x square approximately equal to x square. And this will give me the value of field along the axial line as mu naught divided by 4 pi Ni 2 pi r square. And then you drop the r and you retain the x, so it becomes x cube. Okay? And here we use one trick over here. Right now you are not going to understand, but here we have a theory. Basically we have a theory over here. Now if you can see here, Ni, just forget the 2 for a moment. So you will get here as mu naught by, okay, I'll just cancel this 2 over here. Okay, this 2 and this 4. So this becomes 2. So I will write here as 2 pi. Okay. Now I have Ni and pi r square. So Ni I have, and then I have pi r square. Now what is pi r square? If you see separately, what is pi r square? Pi r square is nothing but the area of cross section of this coil. Okay. Divided by x cube. This is what will I get? And this one, number of turns into area, into current, into area of cross section, this term is called magnetic moment. So I will write here as mu naught 4 pi, let us say m, we denote magnetic moment as m, divided by x cube. Where you have to write that, mention that over here. Where m is equal to mu naught by 4 pi, where m is equal to Ni into pi r square. Okay, this is called magnetic moment. Okay. Because the syllabus says that you have to derive this expression in the form of magnetic moment as well. Now I can do one more thing over here. If you do remember, if you go back to case 1, case 1 was like this. If I have to write the case 1 in terms of or the general formula also, I can write a general formula also. If you remember the general formula of axial line, General formula of axial line was mu naught by 4 pi, that is before starting case 1 and case 2, was equal to ni 2 pi r square divided by r square plus x square 3 by 2. This is what my previous formula was, correct? The general formula was. Now this also I can justify this also in terms of magnetic moment, because I have a n over here, I have a I over here, and I have pi r square over here. Can you see that? So n I and pi r square, again I can write as m. So I can write this one as mu times of 2m divided by 4 pi into r square plus x square 3 by 2. This also you can write general formula along the axial line in terms of magnetic moment. This is in terms of magnetic moment. And this is called magnetic moment. Okay, I hope things are clear to you. Okay, so that's it. Quite a long derivations. It's not that long derivation. It's just we are changing the terms over here and there. That's it. So I just quickly revise what we have done so far. We took a ring and then we saw the ring at a distance of x. We have to find the field. So we plotted a r. We saw that IDL and r makes an angle of 90 degree. So the first angle was taken care, and then this r. The ideal cross r, when the field is created, it creates a field at this point along this direction, and then we took the component of this field along the y direction and along the x direction. So we got the field along this direction. So we resolve the field along y direction and along x direction. So we continue with the x direction because y direction gets cancelled out. So the x direction field overall gives us the axial field. So we found that it is dv sin, this was dv, so this is dv sin theta. One more will come over here as 2 dv sin theta, but I continued with dv sin theta only because I have to integrate over the full perimeter. So I took the dv sin theta and then I integrated the entire thing over 0 to 2 pi r, and I got my final expression. Then I said that this is for one circular wire. What if I have n number of turns? So I multiplied n over there, and then I can modify that with this formula of m. M has a formula. M formula is NIA. Okay, that is number of turns current multiplied by area of cross section. Correct. So if I use this concept of magnetic moment of NIA, which was evident in the formula of NI and A over here. So I modified the axial formula, and then we can discuss of two cases, case 1 and case 2. In case 1, you can put right away x equal to 0. You get one formula, and then you get this value of this one x very greater than r, and you get this answer. Okay, so this is how we discuss in terms of magnetic moment. What exactly is magnetic moment? Right now, just know the definition. Definition is magnetic moment. Definition is Ni times of A. Okay, so thank you for watching, and please maintain a good note of it. Okay, just I'm thinking that otherwise you will get confused over here. If you have this as the axial line, then how will you find the field at the center? So if you remember, at the center was x equals to 0. So also know this term, that is that the field at the center in terms of magnetic moment. So my field will x equal to 0 means we are at the center now. So the axial will now become center. So this is at center. I have done this, but now I am doing it again in terms of magnetic moment. So you will get this one as mu naught times of 2m divided by 4 pi into x becomes 0, so this becomes an r cube. So this is the field at the center. This is the field at the center in terms of magnetic moment. Okay. When you put this value of magnetic moment, things gets cancelled and you get back the original formula which you have learned earlier in the last class. Okay. So this is one way to write the magnetic field at the center in the magnetic moment in the form of magnetic moment. So all this for this derivation. Thank you for watching, and please practice this derivation. Make a note, keep pausing the video and make a proper note. Thank you for watching.